Yo, what is up guys? Welcome back to another casted game here on Stormgate Central. This time we're going to be watching a game here from the Stormgate Nexus once again. So we've got PartinG down here playing as the Celestials in the blue, and then up in the top corner of Lost Hope here we have Denver playing as the Vanguard. Now Denver, I'm not super familiar with him as a player, but I do know that in Stormgate right now, even just in the early access, so that's since like the early access, if you like, people who are backed on Kickstarter and people who purchased those early access packs, he has around almost 800 games solely as the Vanguard. He's got about a 55% win rate against the Celestials. PartinG, in the meantime, he's been playing a lot, right? So I'm not sure if Denver's really put as much time into the early playtests as PartinG has. PartinG certainly doesn't have as many games under his belt, but make no mistake, he is, you guys will know if you've been watching the channel for any amount of time, definitely one of the best players in Stormgate. And he has around an 80 or something % win rate against Vanguard, so I'd say chances are PartinG is probably favoured to win this game, but who knows how this is going to turn out. It is a best of 5, so plenty of games to come here, guys. The Morph Core is at the moment floating over here. Not quite sure what PartinG is doing right now. It actually, yeah, I'm kind of stumped. Okay, he's actually mining Therium though, which is interesting because that's not something we see PartinG do all too often. He's a very aggressive player. He's very, very good at his timing attacks, but it was kind of interesting for any of you guys who watched the Stormgate Nexus live over on Twitch. There was actually at some point an interview with PartinG, and whilst he is known for his aggression and his great micro and all of that, you know, he did say that he's perfectly comfortable with playing macro as well. So if he ends up playing against somebody who's even more aggressive than he is, you know, he's quite fine to just sit back, macro up, and simply react to what the other player is doing. And PartinG is very, very good at that. The Arc Station is already up, guys, and there is actually a Legion haul coming out here. So it looks like he's going to be getting some early Seraphims, and he's going to start creeping around the map with those. For those of you who aren't familiar, the Seraphim are a flying unit, so they can't actually attack air, they can only attack ground. And basically, they do more damage to creeps, and they take less damage from creeps. So very, very good creeping units. He's also got a scanner coming out here across the map. Not a unit we've seen all too often from the Celestials. It's been in since early access and even since Frigate, but people don't generally seem to have used it too much. I don't believe it saw any changes in the last patch, so I'm not sure why people have picked up on it now. Maybe it just took that long for the meta to sort of evolve, but you can actually latch the scanner onto trees on the map, and then it will go cloaked and invisible and sort of act as an observer from the Protoss for anybody who is familiar with StarCraft units. So right now, PartinG just kind of getting out some prisms. He hasn't actually gone and expanded with any collection array. Recently, we've seen Mana, and we casted a game of him just yesterday up against Vortex. Mana is actually kind of starting to favor the prisms, I would say, as well, and just starts to sort of fly them all over the map, putting them on random Luminite mines, because you don't actually need a collection array there to mine with the prisms. You can just put the prisms on there without any collection array. Ooh, nice Purify there on the, is it Purify? No, that's the wrong ability. Purify is, of course, the laser beam that gives you energy. I forget the name of it. I always call it Beam Me Up Scotty, because that's pretty much what they're doing, sending that creep camp up to heaven, but that is one of the top bar abilities for Celestial that's unlocked once you get the Arc Station, so that's another nice little feature of this build here. Really, really good for getting out on the map here, creeping around, and pretty much just taking all of those towers. The Seraphims have also got this quick movement ability. Ooh, Ascension Matrix is now going down here for PartinG as well, so we may be seeing Animancers coming out of him not too, well, pretty soon actually, not in the distant future at all. I guess this is like a big map, right? So he's probably thinking he can get away with this sort of play. Denver at the moment, basically going for Hedgehogs, so he's not been going for too much of that early dog play that we've seen coming out of the Vanguard typically at the moment. I know that that has been a point of contention, I would say, a point of controversy almost in the meta at the moment. Everybody is just absolutely sick and tired of seeing dogs, seeing the scouts. We do have a few of them out on the map, though. Do they have Rillian Claws? They do not. Central Command is done, but no, there's no Biolab here, so we're just going to be seeing mostly Hedgehogs, and he is going to be coming into PartinG's base, having a little bit of a poke, and seeing what he can get done. But I have to say, I don't think he's going to get a lot done, because the Sim City for PartinG here is pretty nice, although the Strike Node is going to get instantaneously sniped. A Vector coming out now for PartinG as well, and he blinks it off down the cliff there, manages to save it, but one Vector is well, I was going to say it's not going to be enough to deter this, but actually, it looks like he's going to go down there. Sovereign's Watch goes down on the power bank, but he probably thought there was a collection raid down here. He's actually just gone to chase that Vector and probably tried to poke this Luminite mine, but he's not really found much there. PartinG generally likes to spread out his army all over the map, and he's not really done that this map. He's actually done something very un-PartinG-like and just hunkered down in his main. Now, the Seraphim here are going to be able to somewhat contest the Hedgehogs, but they're not predominantly like a damage-dealing unit to the enemy army, right? They're mainly just for creeping around the map and taking that map control. Very, very good at that. That's where their strength lies, but not great against taking out the enemy army. And I think PartinG's kind of in trouble here, man. The Hedgehogs are just ripping the Vectors a new one. And, you know, the Vectors, if anybody can micro Vectors, it's PartinG. But I'm not sure if those are really going to be enough to hold on there. So Sovereign's Watch right now is absolutely saving PartinG. It's causing him to fall back here, going back to the health camp, making nice use of that. But if we also take a look at the map, guys, PartinG has actually almost like full map control in terms of towers. So he's been very active with these Seraphim, getting around the map, taking all of those. So he's got, well, he's got all but basically both of the health camps, which I would argue are maybe some of the more important units here, or rather some of the more important camps to have, because that is going to give you the passive health regeneration buff. Oh, he's going to get it around. Okay, just manages to get up there. If these Vectors have their jump on cooldown, that's going to be big trouble for PartinG right now. Then they have absolutely nowhere to run. Hedgehogs are kind of struggling at the moment. They're having to flick between their AA mode and their regular ground attack mode, trying their best to deal with the Seraphim in the air and the Vectors on the ground here. But DPS-wise, the Hedgehogs are just so much better than any of the units that PartinG has at the moment. And it seems like Denver is just going to continue to reinforce, deploying a few of the Hedgehogs now. All of the Seraphim go down. The Vectors are going down as well. And, I mean, I think this has got to be game for PartinG, right? There's a couple more Vectors coming out now, but there are more Hedgehogs coming across the map. Seraphim there. And we've got a machine lag going down there as well. And GG, PartinG leaves the game. Game number 1 is going to go to Denver. So PartinG, I would say, playing a little bit unlike himself from what I've seen recently. But let's see if he can give an answer to this in game number 2. Alright guys, moving on to Boneyard. So a little bit of a smaller map here. That does make me wonder whether PartinG is going to go for something a little bit different. And straight away we see the Arc ship moving out. So he is going to be taking his first collection array here on this Luminite mine, it looks like. Starting to pull those creeps. We're probably going to see Sovereign's Watch go down on the Arc ship here as he continues to kill these. And he's definitely going collection array first here. So pretty standard economic build here coming out of PartinG. Probably going to see some dogs opening up here for Denver. Not sure if he's going to go for the Hedgehogs there again. By the way, guys, this tournament was run over on Beowulf's Twitch channel, so massive shout out to him. I'm going to link his channel down below. Really, really great tournament. I didn't get to cast all of the, or not, I didn't cast any of the games. I didn't get to watch all of the games, I should say. So that's why I've decided to cast some of them here on the channel. I'm going to try my best to get through all of the quarterfinals. So yesterday we had a quarterfinal between Mana and Vortex, seeing Mana progress there 3-2 over Vortex. This time, of course, we've got PartinG and Denver, and then we've got 2 more quarterfinals to go. Then we're going to do the semis and the finals as well. So I'm going to try my best to get through all of this for you guys. It's really, really fun. Some great games to be seen in a lot of these series. As we see the Creation Chamber now going down there. I really like this from Denver, trying his best to actually steal PartinG's starting creeps here. Also doing the same at his side of the map, so he's moving out there with a Lancer. We do see 4 Bobs at the moment on the Therium. There is no Biolab, so that does signify that it is indeed going to be Hedgehogs once again. Denver saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Let's take another try at this. By the way, guys, if you do enjoy the content here on the channel, don't forget to hit up that subscribe button. Plenty more Stormgate content to come out of me in the future. Plenty more casts, of course, builds, guides, all that good stuff. I'm going to be keeping up on the news with Stormgate, and there's probably going to be a fair bit of that over the coming months. We've got a patch coming in September. That's going to have some content drop, and then I believe a little bit later on in October, there's going to be 3v3 mode added. So, you know, I think Stormgate, depending on like how you view it at the moment, you know, whether you're on the more positive or negative side of things, I think we can all agree that it looks like there's a lot of new content coming from the game, and from what I've seen from Frost Giant, the developers, they really do seem to be iterating and improving the game at a pretty quick pace. Every time a new beta build came out, before early access was available, of course, there were really quite a lot of things that changed with it, so I definitely still have faith that they're going to be able to pull Stormlight into the light, so to speak. Stormgate, I should say, into the light. Well, I really messed that one up. So Denver here, going around with his dogs, starting Lancer and Hedgehogs. Yeah, pretty much seems to be the same thing. We're probably going to see him go for this second mech bay in a little while. I don't believe he expanded in the last game, so questionable whether he's actually gearing up to do that or not. He's just going to be moving out, I think, and getting some early pressure off on PartinG again. Sort of saying, okay, you know, if PartinG isn't this aggressive player, he normally traditionally likes to open up... Oh, he accidentally misclicked there and shot his own Argent. PartinG traditionally likes to get a bunch of Argents, which is pretty much what he's going for in this game. He does have the Guardian Nexus down, though, so probably going to be seeing some Kree. Oh, no. He's actually just... Has he got an upgrade for the Argents? No, okay, no upgrade yet coming out of him. There it is. Photo Restoration is coming in right now, so that is going to give the Argent 13% faster movement speed, and it also increases their energy regeneration as well, which is a pretty strong ability there to have in the early game. And, you know, PartinG, he feels right at home playing with these Argents. He's probably one of the best Celestial players who really knows how to macro and just get up a bunch of Argents at the start of the game and use them to the utmost effect. So, let's see if this is actually going to be a good enough answer, though. Oh! Okay, he cancels the mech bay. Interesting. He looks like he's going for an expansion there. So, I really wonder what's gone on in Denver's head there. He was going to go for that early aggression. I think... Oh, hold on a second, guys. My cat literally just stood in the way of my monitor, and I could not see a thing. Yeah, I think maybe he saw PartinG's army. He saw all of the Argents. And, you know, generally speaking, Hedgehogs are a very good counter to Argents. Hedgehogs are light units. Argents do bonus damage to heavy units, so not particularly good against Hedgehogs. And in the frigate playtest, I know that, you know, the Hedgehogs were basically the counter to all of these Celestial starting units. But Denver seems to maybe be a little bit worried here, and he's just going to go macro up instead of taking the second mech bay and getting that very early aggression going on. I love this from PartinG as well, moving out onto this island expansion here and taking this collection array probably momentarily. That is definitely one of the strengths of that race, of course, and these little island expansions have been built into this map here, so I say it sort of favors Celestial player. It is very siegeable, though. You know, it's not like it's super hidden or anything. It's not like an island expansion in the middle of the ocean in the corner of the map like we've seen in some maps in past RTS games, so that is going to be pretty easy to siege up to. And, of course, with Denver going for mech here, if he goes for Atlases, especially get some evacs out there, that's not really going to be an issue for him whatsoever. So the second mech bay is now down. Biolab coming out there as well. So, not exactly sure what he's going to go for alongside that. I would have thought we'd maybe see him go into Vulcans or something like that. Maybe he thinks the Vulcans are a little bit too slow. A few Kree are out there now and a couple of Cabals. So, the Cabals, they have an ability called, well, Debilitate, which will slow enemy movement. And they've also got another one that allows them to either lift a ground target into the air or ground an air target. And this is going to be very effective against the Hedgehogs here. As you can see, the Debilitate absolutely working wonders there, depicted by this purple aura around the Hedgehogs. That is slowing their movement speed and essentially making it so he just cannot macro away here. Sorry, he can't micro away, I should say. And this is a beautiful push coming in by PartinG here. Has Denver even really killed anything? The Bobs are coming in, but there is no Bob overcharge at the moment, and the Krees are slicing and dicing. And, well, it says PartinG has left the game there, which is strange because surely Denver lost this game. I'm almost certain Denver lost this game. So I don't... Maybe I missed that. It didn't say Denver lost the game, but this is obviously going to be a win here for PartinG. Let's just double check, though. Yeah, everything looks absolutely fine on his side of the map. Oh, interesting. He actually threw down a creation chamber there and didn't go for the collection array. So, GG, PartinG going to take it up to 1-all. So, the next map here, Titans Causeway. Interesting map. Got that Luminite tower here in the middle. It's got the trees either side of it. So, the rush distance, whilst it may look similar to Broken Crown, I would say, in terms of size. The rush distance is somewhat longer, and whenever you start creeping around the edge of the map, the chance that you're going to run into the enemy is extremely high. You've sort of got to guess, are they going to go left or are they going to go right? PartinG opting to go with that beginner collection array here. Also getting some prisms out. Oh, wait, no, he just cancelled that and went for another arc ship. Or rather, another morph core, I should say. Is it just my brain that does this, guys? Like, whenever I read a word and then try and say a different word at the same time, it just says the word that I'm reading. I'm not sure. Maybe that's me. Comment down below and let me know. Also, guys, maybe something interesting we could chat about down there in the comments. What would you like to see for the next patch for Stormgate? After this tournament, I think, you know, the devs, and especially Kevin Dong, who's in charge of the balance there for the competitive side of things, he generally likes to look at big tournaments like this, see what all of the pros are doing, and if there is some sort of a tactic there that is, you know, let's not say broken, but seems to be problematic, maybe slightly overpowered, he will generally jump in pretty quickly and put something in the patch notes for the next update, and he's been releasing patch notes and updates every couple of weeks or so. So I am expecting one fairly soon now that this tournament has in fact wrapped up. I'm sure Kevin is going to be poring over all of the replays, much as I have been doing myself, and he's taking notes and thinking of things he wants to change here. I know for me, like I commented on in, you know, the first game, the dog meta, I think has to change. I know that in the last patch notes, they said they were looking into it, but they didn't actually make any changes to the scouts at all. So I think that's probably something that's like almost a given. We're going to see some sort of change there. So Denver, he's just going to move down here nice and easy and take his expansion. We don't yet have a mech bay out of him. Just a couple of dogs as he creeps a little bit there around the map. And PartinG doing much the same thing here. Going back to his traditional style, I would say, getting those couple of collection arrays out there. Also pumping out a few prisms. So he's not going super all in here with these Argents. This is not some kind of like 2 creation chamber timing push or anything like that. He's just kind of reacting right now. In fact, you can see he's also going to rally a prism onto the Therium there. And there comes the Guardian Nexus. So he wants to go get that photo restoration again for his Argents. And that's also going to allow him to build the Cabal. So I'm not sure if he's actually scouted what Denver's doing, but Denver's actually turns out looking for PartinG. He's doing exactly the same thing. And, well, you know what they say, doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome is the definition of insanity. So I fully expect PartinG to most likely win this game. He's banking on the fact that Denver is going Hedgehogs again. That is, in fact, what he's doing. So let's see how this turns out for him. You know, maybe Denver's got a trick up his sleeve here. Maybe he's figured out what he did wrong in the last game. But I have to say, man, that engagement that PartinG took in Denver's base was pretty one-sided. He barely lost a unit. The Argents absolutely trash Hedgehogs, despite the fact that Hedgehogs are light units. The only real reason that they're able to do well against Argents is because they can micro back, and Argents are just so slow. But this is just so well thought out by PartinG, right? He gets the photo restoration because that also gives him the movement speed, which is going to be huge microing against those Hedgehogs. And then he also gets the Cabals, using that debilitate there to slow them down. So absolutely genius play here against the Hedgehogs. And, you know, PartinG, you really have to hand it to him. In my experience, he's just one of those players who is able to react like in the game. I think most players, oh, big engagement coming in here. I don't think Denver's going to commit to this. He's only got a few dogs and a couple of Hedgehogs and 1 Lancer. There's way too many Argents for him to really poke in. Although, photo restoration is not done yet and there are no Cabals. So maybe he's thinking, if I can get in and do some damage with my Hedgehogs on those Argents nice and early, you know, perhaps that's going to be enough for me to snowball this game. And that's exactly what he's going to try here. He does pick off 1 Argent there. But a couple of dogs have gone down there as well. So yeah, man, I don't think 3 Hedgehogs, even 4 Hedgehogs, is going to cut it. Of course, you know, PartinG continues to micro up behind this, so 2 Cabals now out. Charging them up fully here with the energy from the power banks before they move out. And you'll notice that PartinG has also gone and gotten, like, he hasn't even bothered to take these trees down. He's just moved over there, got line of sight, and used his top bar ability to kill this camp. So, really, really nice play there from him. Completely hidden from Denver. Yeah, so to continue what I was saying before, though, I think most players will generally lose a game, and then they sort of have to mentally, you know, dip their head in ice water, dry themselves off, and say, okay, what did I do wrong there? How can I counter this? What is my opponent doing, and how should I be reacting to this? Whereas PartinG sort of does that process in the middle of the game. He's just able to react to things very, very quickly. So whereas it might take a regular player a couple of games to figure out how to stop some crazy timing attack, PartinG just seems to do very well against this stuff. I think timing attacks are generally his bread and butter, though. So maybe he's expecting a lot of them himself, and he's generally thought about how he's going to defend against them. So in terms of towers here, like, in general, this game is still fairly even. Supplies, PartinG is a little bit ahead. Towers are fairly even as well. And PartinG is going to come in for this very, very similar attack here. 5 Krees, 2 Cabals there with the Debilitate. And again, these Hedgehogs, they are toast, man. They are absolutely toast. This time we do have the Bobo charge there. So the Bobs, oh, this could actually be kind of problematic here for PartinG. The Bobs are going to close all of these Argents in, but the Hedgehogs are trapped as well, and they are, every single one of them, going to go down, even taking massive damage there from the Krees, despite the fact they can't move. And, man, I think all these Bobs are going to go down regardless here. Yeah, GG, Denver leaves, and game number 2 is going to go to PartinG. So that was pretty much a repeat performance of what we saw there in game number 2. He just now gets a Vulcan out, so let's see, guys. Is he going to go more in with the Vulcan in the next game and try to change things that way? So, PartinG takes that last game, giving him a 2-1 lead now over Denver. Last map here, guys. This one is going to be on Secluded Growth. Well, potentially the last map. Maybe not the last map. Actually, if Denver wins this one, of course, we'll be going on to game number 5. And what is PartinG up to? So, interestingly, he's actually positioning his ARP ship here to start mining Therium straight away and going for a very early creation chamber. Only rallying it down there on the ramp, though. So, not that big of a deal. Not going for any crazy aggression. Denver, of course, sees all of this here as we see the Morph Core go and do a little bit of scouting around. I don't believe he's going to really get too much creeping done with this, as the poor old Morph Cores have been nerfed now. The glory days of the Morph Cores are over, guys, where you could just, well, for those of you who are new to Stormgate and you weren't here for patch 1, you could basically rush your opponent with 5 or 6 of them. Very, very cheesy, but very, very effective. So those were fun times, but probably for the better of the game's balance that one was gone. So actually 2 prisms right now on the Therium coming out of PartinG. Dare I say, wow, very quick arc station there as well. This may turn into a macro game. Not something you see very often when casting PartinG or watching a game with PartinG, and I've casted a fair few series with him. He generally seems to either win or lose his games pretty early on. He doesn't really take things too often to the mid or the late game, so we may actually be in for a bit of a treat here. So what is Denver up to there? Okay, I was wondering what was going on with those 2 Bobs. They were just waiting for the necessary Luminite or the Therium to slap down that mech bay. So once again, we're going to be seeing Denver play mech. Like I said, guys, I'm not super familiar with Denver, so I don't know if mech is perhaps just his bread and butter. Maybe he just favors mech in general over bioplay. I feel personally like Exos are very, very good. They have seen a nerf, actually, in patch number 1. Legion Hall is coming down here again for PartinG, so I believe this was the similar build. Yeah, this is what he went for in game number 1. Went for this crazy Sim City here back home, boxing everything in, getting very, very early Therium and early Seraphim. So we're seeing that same game 1 build out of him. This was somewhat problematic, though. He followed this up with Vectors, if you recall. And, yep, we're seeing that Scanner coming out of him again as well here. So he is going to see the mech bay coming down. And it is going to be double mech bay, just like in game number 1. And if you recall, Denver went on to win that game. So does PartinG really want to risk giving him a game? Well, I suppose he is 2-1 up, so he can take that risk. But, as I was saying in the last game, PartinG, he just knows how to react. He knows how to change things up on the fly, and I'm sure he's certainly thought about the consequences of that first game and how he's going to change things here. So the Seraphim are out now. Wow, just look at how quickly. Almost 4-shotting. Yeah, actually 4-shotting these Shadow Demons here. Okay, maybe 5-shotting them. I guess I missed the first one. So he's going to go and take, like, you should not underestimate the amount of cash you can get from these creeps. Even in the early game, even though they're just level 1 creeps. The level 2 creeps on the Luminite and the Therium towers, they are kind of difficult to take out with your starting units like Scouts and Lancers. PartinG coming in here and getting some really nice damage on that Lancer, actually taking it out. That Seraphim just escapes by the skin of its teeth on 10 HP, but he has to be careful from those Hedgehogs. They have quite the range on them there, especially when they're in the AA mode. They have slightly more range than when they're in their sort of normal ground attack mode. Beam me up, Scotty, on this creep camp up here. And of course, this is one of the advantages as well. Even though the starter units aren't great at taking out those level 2 camps, which will spawn at the start of a game on the Luminite towers and on the Therium towers, these Seraphim take so much less damage and deal so much more damage to creeps that they can actually take them out. And of course, the Celestials with their top bar ability are specialists in dealing with creep camps. So right now, PartinG doing a stellar job getting around the map, and I think Denver really needs to make this one base double mech bay timing do something for him. He really needs to commit to this quickly, because if he allows PartinG to have all of these bases, or all of the towers, I should say, it's really not going to turn out very well. We are seeing the Vectors coming out again, though, there. And the Ascension Matrix. So, PartinG right now, I mean, he's got the 4 prisms there in the main. He's just now starting to get a little bit of extra mining from the second. So, in terms of economy, outside of the towers at least, he's doing pretty toe-to-toe here with Denver. There is a blast node down there in the front. This time, you'll notice he's actually made a second one. So, yeah, he's gone for a strike node and a blast node. In the first game, I think he just had the 1 strike node, and that got instantly sniped there by Denver. So this time he's gone for a strike node and a blast mode. That is the change. Getting into the main of Denver now and doing some really nice harassment here on the Bobs. 1 Hedgehog is just not going to be enough to defend this, I don't think. Well, okay, maybe if the repair goes down, it's going to be good for days, but it's not really going to do too much damage here. And this has got to hurt here for Denver. What is Denver's answer to this? He's actually just out on the map, and I would say wasting time creeping. I feel like he should have probably pushed the main by now, tried to get in here, maybe stop the Therium mining, go and get some of these prisms here, and, you know, answer PartinG's aggression here with some of his own. But he's actually sort of, I feel, being a little bit indecisive out on the map here, waiting to try to catch these Seraphim, trying to take some of the camps, and, you know, by all means, that's a good thing to do. But as PartinG's numbers grow, there's less and less chance that you're going to be able to take a good engagement as Denver. Like, right now, these 2 Seraphims that are left alive here, they've done absolute wonders. They have essentially just held Denver back and stopped this attack altogether. And how many Vectors do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He does have the recall potential here, which you'll see gives you 30% increased movement speed and allows your, after delta jumping, you can recall the unit. So if for anybody who's played Overwatch, I kind of think of this unit a bit like Tracer. You can jump in somewhere and then recall it out. So for anyone who doesn't know, this unit was nerfed. It had its movement speed nerfed, and so we stopped seeing these proxy vector plays. But if you get the upgrade, its movement is actually even faster than it was. So it's actually now 6 movement instead of 5 movement. So these upgraded vectors are very, very powerful here and great for microing against the Hedgehogs. I definitely got to give this one to PartinG. Like, some really nice picks here coming in with the vectors. I think the numbers are just in his favor. Oh, no, wait a minute. Actually, Denver doing some really nice pullback micro here, getting some nice picks on the vectors. Without the Seraphim in there, it's starting to look pretty equal. And PartinG is going to be forced back here, I believe, in a second. Those vectors are very expensive, by the way, guys. This is not exactly 1-to-1 right now. I believe a vector is something like 200 Luminite, 100 Therium. A Hedgehog is not quite so expensive, so it's really good if Denver can trade and lose 1 Hedgehog and kill a vector for that. As the Machine Lab is now out here as well. So we are going to be seeing those Vulcans most likely coming out of Denver. And now there's a bunch more Hedgehogs coming out here as well. So I'm not... Okay, wow, nice pullback there from PartinG as well. Denver's not the only one who can micro here. But I think the numbers of Hedgehogs that we've got mean that if they eat 1 single volley a lot of the time they're going down. He is actually crazily managing to keep a lot of these vectors alive. This is pretty insane, dude. 3 now getting onto the bobs there. And, yeah, he's actually going to end up losing all of them, though. It's kind of how I thought it would turn out, you know. It was pretty equal for the most part, but a hedgehog for a vector, that's a pretty good trade, man. Like, he can pump these out fairly quickly. So, meanwhile, back home, it looks like PartinG is going to start to expand here. He now has that second collection ray up. He now has 3 prisms on there as well, and he's even mining therium there outside. As having 2 prisms here on your regular therium, it will eat it up very, very quickly. More vectors coming out of him, though, there. And Denver's doing likewise. He's going to go ahead and expand here. Now, maybe once this expansion's up, PartinG's going to have a little bit of an easier time harassing there. Because it is on the low ground, right? And he's got 2 different points of attack. So you can come in this way, you can come in from the therium. But still, as naturals go, this is still fairly easy to defend. Down goes another creep camp there for PartinG. All the creep camps at the moment have, of course, reset here. So all of these towers right now are up for grabs. And it's to the winner go the spoils. Who's going to be quickest around the map with these vectors or the Seraphim? I believe... Are there any Seraphim alive here for PartinG? I guess not. Nah, I think they all went down to those hedgehogs. So he's only got the vectors now. Another Legion hull going down there, though, as well. Maybe he wants to get out some of those Cabals. Because those worked absolute wonders for him in the past couple of games. So effective with that debilitate there against the hedgehogs and their super speed. What actually is the speed of a hedgehog here? Okay, they have 6.75 move speed, guys. And the vectors actually have 5 move speed. I'm not actually sure that's correct. I swear it says in the patch notes that with the upgrade they get 6 move speed, so I think this could just be the base move speed, but then it says obviously here they get 30% more, so a little bit more move speed than they would have previously had here in the last patch. Oh, strike now down there. Really, really powerful, but not great against the hedgehogs there, going to get absolutely sniped off. And Denver coming in here with a nice little poke. So he has gotten those Cabals out there, trying to do some work, but he really needs some... Okay, yeah, he is now transitioning into the Argent, so I think he's realized that the combo of units that he had in the last couple of games was just a winning combination, right? He took both of those engagements in the last 2 games really without much of a fight at all. It just was no competition whatsoever, so why he's not going for that again, I don't really know. But it seems now he's decided, okay, these vectors and the Seraphim, it's not really working for me. I guess he just wanted to try something. So yeah, we can see the Kree coming out of him again there. 2 more creation chambers going down. So it does look like PartinG is going to transition here and go for that same build that he had in the last game. The Hedgehogs, meanwhile, continue to pressure outside the base, though. So he does want to be careful here, especially if some of them start setting up in their siege mode and picking off these prisms. Prisms are not cheap. They are 125 Luminite a pop, so it's almost like losing 2.5 workers every time one of these things gets sniped. And they will certainly fall very quick to a bunch of hedgehogs. So Denver's actually not going to change anything up here. He's just really going to the heavy mech play. Does he actually have... I don't think he really has the economy there to support all 4 of those mech bays, because you can see he's only building from 2 or 3 at the moment, so maybe a little bit of a, you know, overbuilding by him there on the macro side of things. And meanwhile, again, some nice pressure from him, but I think, guys, it's just a matter of time here until PartinG's Argent numbers start to grow. And once they do, once those debilitates come out from the Cabals, and the Argents just move in there and start sniping them, one-shotting them, Denver is going to be in a world of trouble. I really think he needs to get onto some more tech here. We've only really seen Argents out of him. We have seen the single Vulcan 1 game. It came out way too late. So maybe we're going to see it this time. But, okay, yeah, there it is. The Vulcan is coming out now. Whether that's going to make the difference, though, is yet to be seen. So an Animancer out here on the field now as well. And remember, Dark Prophecy, whilst it is incredibly powerful in terms of damage, it also slows units. So right now, PartinG's army is the exact army that you want to have to deal with fast units like Hedgehogs. But if Denver can manage to sort of transition into something maybe a little bit more Vulcan heavy, maybe even Lancers or something like along those lines, that could actually work really, really well for him. But obviously, he doesn't really have buyout as an option, so all he can really go into here are Vulcans or Atlases, possibly Evac, something along those lines. Things are very, very Kree heavy here for PartinG. I would have thought he would have gotten more of the Argents here, because that's generally how his comp has worked. He's had like 3-4 Kree, and then mostly Argents and a couple of Cabals. This time, though, deciding to go very, very Kree heavy. But if he can get the wraparound there, that's going to absolutely destroy. Maybe he's preempting the Vulcans and he thinks, okay, if you're going to get Vulcans that are going to shoot all of my Argents when they're grouped up together in shooting and they're very slow to run away, maybe I'm just going to have Kree that can move in, instantly surround your Vulcan, and the Vulcan's going to do way less damage that way. So PartinG is going to move in here. Double Vulcans now, a third Vulcan coming out. Beautiful Dark Prophecies, though, coming out of PartinG. And I mean, Denver just doesn't even bother moving out of those. He's just going to take it on the chin. Continues to tank it. But a lot of the Hedgehogs are falling here. Nice wraparounds there by the Kree as well. And absolutely everything does go down. That was perfectly executed by PartinG. The Dark Prophecies right there. I mean, I don't know why Denver didn't move out of them. I guess he just figured they wouldn't do that much damage to his mech. And it was worth tanking that damage to try and get some out himself. But yeah, man. That did not work out for him in the end. So GG, PartinG is going to move on to the semi-finals, taking this series 3-1. Guys, as always, if you enjoyed the game here on the channel, don't forget to hit that sub button for more Stormgate content. Hope you have a good day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.